AITA for telling my girlfriend we can't live together if she wants to split expenses proportionally to income. I 28M have been dating my girlfriend 26F for a little over 2 years now. We met under kind of random but memorable circumstances. She was living in an apartment complex I was doing some renovation work on. I co-own a small but growing contracting and construction company with a close friend of mine, and back then, I was still doing a lot of hands-on work. One day I was covered in drywall dust and standing on a ladder in her hallway, and she nearly ran into me while walking her dog. The rest, as they say, is history. Fast forward 2 years and we're at a crossroads. She's in grad school getting by on a modest stipend and student loans. Her expenses, rent, utilities, food, medical insurance, car payments, credit card bills, easily outpace her income. She's been trying to make it work, but her situation is getting more and more unsustainable, especially since her landlord just gave notice that rent going up again. Meanwhile, I live in a house owned by my grandparents. I don't pay rent. My grandparents insisted on that, saying it's their way of investing in my future. It's a modest but nice place, and I've put a lot of sweat equity into it myself. One of my closest friends lives with me and pays all the utilities as his rent, which has worked out fine for us both. It's a stable, low-cost living situation for me, which is crucial because my business is still in its early growth stages. We're reinvesting most of our profits into the company, hearing people, upgrading tools, trying to get a real foothold in the market. Every dollar counts. Given all that, it makes sense why my girlfriend would want to move in. Her current living situation is expensive and increasingly unsafe. Her neighborhood has seen a rise in crime and her apartment is falling apart. She's terrified to walk her dog at night, so she came to me and asked if we could live together. Her plan is to have my friend move out, he's totally okay with that, and for us to split joint expenses, proportionally to income. At face value, it sounds fair, right? She earns less, so she pays less. But here, the problem, splitting expenses proportionally would mean I'd be covering almost everything. We ran the numbers, and it would basically mean I'm subsidizing her life. That might make sense in a traditional setup where you're pooling finances and making joint decisions, but that's not what we're doing. See, my girlfriend has been very clear. She wants financial independence. She doesn't want to combine finances. She doesn't want me to have any say in how she spends her money. And to be blunt, we've had some pretty major disagreements over how she manages her finances. Last year, she bought a brand new car with a $700 month payment, even though her mom had to help her with the down payment. She still takes trips every summer and puts them on her credit card. She's thousands in debt and doesn't budget, and every time I bring up her spending habits, she tells me it's none of my business. And look, I get it. She wants autonomy, but then you can't turn around and ask your partner to shoulder the bulk of shared expenses without giving them any input. That's not partnership. That's just expecting to be laid out. So I told her, if we're going to live together, joint expenses need to be split 50-50. Not because I can't afford more, but because I believe fairness doesn't always mean proportionality. It means both people contributing equally to a shared life. With a 50-50 split, she would still come out ahead. Way ahead, actually. Her expenses would drop dramatically, and she'd be in a better position financially than she's been since starting grad school. Meanwhile, I'd actually be paying more than I do now, utilities, food, etc., since I currently pay none of the utilities my roommate covers. But she was upset. She said I was being selfish, that I was adding unnecessary stress to her life, and that since we could afford the proportional split, we should do that. She accused me of not supporting her, not understanding her situation. And maybe she's right. I'll admit I've been fortunate in some ways. I've never had to take out loans, and my grandparents gave me a huge leg up with this house. But I also work 70 hours a week, often without a paycheck, trying to build something from nothing. So now I'm stuck. I love her, I really do, but money has always been our biggest fight. I've tried to look at it from her perspective, but when I step back, I see someone asking for help but refusing to make it a two-way street. If we were pooling resources, making big decisions together, planning a future as a team, I'd be okay with proportional. But she wants to keep our money completely separate and just split the bills based on income. That doesn't sit right with me. So I told her, if proportional is a deal breaker for her, then we shouldn't live together. Not because I don't care, but because I want us to be on equal footing. I don't want to start this next chapter of our relationship with a quiet undercurrent of resentment and imbalance. Now she's furious, says I've let her down, that I don't understand what she's going through. Her friends are apparently taking her side, saying I'm being rigid and unkind. So Reddit, AITA for putting my foot down and saying we won't live together if we can't split expenses 50-50.